might have been too late.
Yeah, I was way too late. What's up, guys? Hello, chat. I have no more beard. Clean shaven. Baby smooth. Babyface and Tony.
Scream.
Tony is also babyface.
Always.
Yeah. What's up, LFQ? What's up, Boom?
Well, we got no chat.
Oh, the little chat guy's not there? Yeah. Yeah, the beard was pissing me off, so it had to go. And it is March, so I had my 6-month beard. It's cathartic. I hope y'all are having a great day. Been looking at some video game news type shit. It looks like there's some like Sega stuff that was going on. Which is interesting because I don't know why, like, I don't know what VGC's Sega agenda is. Because it's obviously it's like Monster Hunter right now, so it should be Capcom time, right? Everyone's going bananas over Monster Hunter. I'm enjoying it. I think it's really fun. But I'm seeing a lot of people say like this game keeps crashing and blah blah blah. Lots of performance issues. For what it's worth, I've only had it crash once. I don't know. Seems fun to me.
It's usually how it goes.
Yeah. But I definitely know people who have experienced multiple crashes. Someone who's already like refunded the game because of crashing. Trying to think of what else. From what it seems like, it might be that there's definitely like, I think Capcom already pushed a patch trying to address it and make it more stable, and they did something else too. I can't remember exactly what they did. Oh, some bug fixes. There was, I guess, like a progression blocker that was in. You could get like locked out of a certain character state, or so when you make a game, your character's like got a bunch of little flags in the code, and you're like, I went to step 3, but in order to get step 3 progress in your code for your character, you have to talk to this guy, and that guy wasn't spawning in, but it was giving you the flag, so you never talked to him, so you got soft locked. So I guess there was a fix for that. It's in chapter 5. I don't know what the fuck that means. I don't even know what chapter I'm in. So, I'm really enjoying Monster Hunter. It's cool. They somehow made the UX worse than Monster Hunter World. I don't know how they did that, but they really made it worse. They put a ton of shit on the radio menu. And the way, so if you want to like use items out of your bag now, you can't just go to the item in your bag and say like, use this item right now, which normally you could do while like kind of running around. It would like overlay a bunch of text and menu shit that you had to go through, but you still had thumbstick control a little bit. Now you can't even go into your backpack and say like, use this potion. It's on like a weird hotbar, so you have to like hold L1 in order to like cycle through the things, and then you use the sheath weapon, or what is circle? It's like light attack button to like swap through those items, and those items are in your bag. You had to go to camp in order to like change what's in your bag. It's awful, and I'm just like, how did you guys literally make this worse? It was bad in World, and you just made it fucking terrible. So anyway, that being said, the game is still very, very fun. I don't know why. I've got the right kind of brain, I guess, for enjoying slap monster until parts fall off, carve monster into new hat lets you fight harder monster, do the same thing again. I love doing it. It's very, very entertaining.
If you're into that game loop, like, that game is great because it gives you just endless amounts of that to do, basically.
For what it's worth, I do change weapon types a bit, and I think there's 14 different weapons, and they're all pretty different play styles. I won't say that they're all that different, because like light bowgun and heavy bowgun is pretty similar. Lance and gun lance are pretty similar. Switch axe and charge blade are pretty similar. So there's really like 6 or 7 main archetypes and then some like nuanced differences. So like Gunlance versus Lance is like hits way harder, but doesn't have the defense that it's still really good defensively. But it doesn't have the same stuff. I think Lance is more mobile. You can like move around a little more. But I don't know. I play Gunlance and Dual Blades. I also like Longsword. I didn't really fuck with Charge Blade or Switch Axe, but those are kind of like Bloodborne style type of shit. So anyway, it's fun. Been chopping lizards, killed some shit gorillas, which is I think Kongala is what they're called. It's like a pink gorilla, and his main attacks are like brown ass cloud or brown mouth cloud. It's very gross. He applies the stench debuff. So I love killing those guys because they're disgusting. Let's see.
You see the new Risk of Rain update notes?
No.
I put them in the Discord server, but one of the ones that I noticed is that they fixed it so that if you run into that situation where like the green portal doesn't show up on the first level,
right,
pretty much just can't do it now, and you got to start your run over or whatever. It sounds like they said a secret different way to be able to do that so that you're not reliant on that, but they said we're not going to reveal what it is. So,
okay. I don't know. There's a joke there somewhere. I didn't have it. It was going to be like the secret way to do it is to roll back patches or some shit like that. Okay. So I think we talked about Tony Hawk Pro Skater coming back. Apparently, Bam is confirmed to not be in it.
Yep.
I think we all kind of saw that coming, though. Bam really kind of lost his fucking mind. And not that it was there in the first place, but I think when CKY and CKY2K came out, there was kind of this thought of like, this is performance art, and this is interesting, and it's a new thing. And then over time, people just went, "Oh, no, he's sick. He needs help." Yeah. And then Johnny,
well, like everybody else stopped and kind of started acting a little more legitimate and stuff, but Bam didn't.
Bam just kept going to jail and getting crazier, and yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, I saw people talking about how they could never remake Tony Hawk Underground 2 specifically because Bam is basically the main character of that game.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. That shit's really weird. I mean, I guess to be fair, like all those dudes were going through it. They all didn't make it out the other side. Like R.I.P. Dunn.
Yeah.
Pontius obviously found his own way as becoming extra weird, and his whole gig was like just being a weirdo.
Did you see the promo photo of like Tony Hawk and Eric Costin and I can't remember who else was in it, but some of those dudes are looking really fucking old. Like, holy crap!
Oh shit, dude. Oh, Tony Hawk is definitely old looking.
Well, and all of them are about as old as he is. So yeah, just like I'll see if I can find this picture real quick and I'll put it up on the screen. But I was just like, dang, like it looks like most of them still skate. So good for them.
Yeah, dude, I kind of want to get back into skating again. I still need to really get good at like single kickflip.
Ramblin' Rose, I know, has really been trying to get back into skating lately.
That'd be cool. I wish he lived closer so that we could go skate.
Yeah. I think he was saying he even he signed up for like a refresher lesson to try to help him like kind of get going a little quicker, and he said it helped a lot. So
I do still have like board balance, but I mean, I guess I'd kind of like I'd be down to. So this was the problem. Like when you skated back in the day, skaters were dicks. Like all of them universally were just like really mean, and everyone was in competition with each other. So I'd be like, "Hey man, can you help me get my kickflip better?" And they'd be like, just start cussing at me and call me bad things, things you can't say anymore. And I'd be like, huh, Well, that sucks. I guess you can't be friends with skaters. Yeah, I kind of remember that. It was like skate culture was always just like, I'm the only person who knows how to do this. What's up, Acid? Yeah, Skater Boy, dude. We're talking about Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3+4, which is the remaster. Bam is not going to be in it for obvious reasons, because Bam is problematic. And Tony was saying that wait, did you already show it? I missed it.
No, I'm still trying to find it.
Okay, cool. Tony was saying he found a promo image of like all the pro skaters in it, and they're all looking old as fuck. And I'm like, well, they are old as fuck, bro.
Yeah.
We were like, what, 13, or at least I was like 13 or 14 when Tony Hawk started to become like famous, and he was already in his 20s. So
here we go.
Yo, Chad Muska, dude. Fucking love it, bro. Acid Hex with the deep cuts.
There we go.
Oh boy. Holy shit.
Tony Hawk, Kareem Campbell, I want to say...
Oh, Kareem is so good.
Let me see.
Rodney Mullen?
I think Rodney Mullen. Yeah,
that's him right there.
Yeah.
Mullen was my favorite. Invented a new type of skateboarding freestyle. It's fucking sick. Very popular in Japan.
Names.
The kids in Japan.
Eric Kaufman, Rodney Mullen, Kareem Campbell, and Steve Caballero.
Yeah, the cab flip.
Yep.
He's got his own trick. And then Mullen invented like fucking 28 different tricks.
Oh yeah.
That only Mullen could do for the longest time. And then the kids in Japan nowadays like idolized Mullen, loved what he was doing, and they're even crazier than he was at his peak, in my opinion.
There's an interview with Tony Hawk from back in the late 90s, early 2000s, where he's like, Activision had come to me and they wanted to make this game, and we did all of this stuff, and he's like, I didn't hear about it for a while, but I thought it was cool, and then we got to play it when it came out, and I thought it was great, and then it launched, and I heard it was doing pretty good and people liked it, and then he's like, I met up with my agent one day, and he's like, you want to go get lunch? And I was like, sure. And we sit down to the table, and he just slides this piece of paper across the table to me, and I look at it, and he's like, it's a check for $4 million. And they're like, that's just like the upfront royalties on like day one game sales. He's like, there'll be more of these coming later, and he's like, my life changed after that moment.
That is
so a really crazy. Cool interview. Yeah,
that's so crazy. Oh, what was it? So Tony Hawk did the first 900, right? And then I think what's the record now? It's like 6.
Somebody might have done like a 2770 or something.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
What is the biggest vert skate spin trick ever done in competition? Okay. All right. Calm down, Gemini. It says the 1080. Fucking wrong.
Let's see. Yeah. It looks like we've potentially only had 3 1080s.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I'm thinking snowboarding.
Yeah.
I'm thinking snowboarding.
And this might specifically be like half pipe or something, but
yeah, that's what vert is. Yeah.
Because
you can't get high enough and get enough speed unless you're on vert.
Well, there's also like Danny Wade, jumped over the Great Wall of China or something. So it's like at a point, like if you want to give yourself enough hang time, you could probably do as many spins as you want to. You just have to land it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It says right here in Wikipedia, 900 is not considered to be a difficult trick for professional snowboarders, skiers, or inline skaters.
Apparently, it was a 2340.
Goddamn, dude.
6.5 rotations in the air. Hiroto Ogiwara at the X Games in Aspen.
Somebody's done an 1800 on skis. Somebody's done a 1620 on a snowboard. Yeah, this might not even be up to date anymore. But
yeah, this is from January. He did that this year. When January.
Tony Hawk did the 900, that was like the peak of human performance. Like nobody was ever going to be able to do more than that. And I mean, to be fair, like as you see right here, like we've had 19 successful landings that have been recorded. So
of the 900?
Of the 900. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's not fucking easy.
Oh my god, this guy was 10 years old. Holy shit.
10? Yo,
what a G. Dude, Asher Bradshaw, 2014 at Woodward West at the age of 10. Oh my gosh. And,
Man, I always wanted to go
see
to
this.
Woodward, but I was like too old. By the time I learned what Woodward was, I was like 18.
All right, here we go. Let's see it.
You got the video?
Yep.
Yes, dude. That's what I was looking for. And I found a shitty video. Oh, no, that's the 900.
Yeah, this is the 10-year-old landing the 900 right here. Crazy. That's wild.
God damn it. I had a video of it and I fucking lost it. Oh, well.
What are you looking for a video?
The snowboard trick where the dude did a 23
Oh, yeah.
fucking 70 or whatever the shit. Anyway, I wanted to see what that looks like. I hurt my knee today because I stepped a bit weirdly. Yeah, dude, I feel that. I definitely feel that. So, I gotta say I'm a little mixed on 3+4. I don't know. I'm probably gonna play it just for the pure nostalgia, but I don't know if the game holds up. It may not.
Did you play 1 and 2?
The remasters? No.
Yeah, I didn't either. I want to someday, but yeah, I don't know. 3 is probably my favorite of the OGs, but
Yeah.
like 3 has like the airport and it had like Darth Maul in it, and the first level's the Foundry. That was like the first PS2 game I ever owned. That was a good one.
I think 2 was the biggest one for me that I played the most of. Is a good
2 was pretty good too. I'm trying to remember. 2 had like the Rio level at the end that had like the loops and the bowls, and yeah, that was a pretty good one.
I was just remembering when I was working at Sphero on the Ollie, which is a robot that it was unfortunately not very successful, but I was pushing to make it the experience like Pro Skater, but in real life with like an Ollie, so you could like take your robot to a skate park and like do a bunch of tricks and shit, and it'd be really
They
fun.
kind of advertised it that way, right?
Sort of.
Yeah.
They leaned away from the Pro Skater thing because they were like, we don't know how to do this. And I was like, I got designs for it. Let's do it this way. And there were people internally who were like, no, we don't want to do that. So instead, they tried to do a thing where it's like, oh, you can drive this Ollie in your house. And I'm like, no, you can't. Like in the office when we were testing it, the Ollie did like 60 scale miles per hour. It was crazy fast. So if you were driving that shit in your house, for one, it didn't really work on like carpet. Like it did, but it wasn't as fast, and it was just kind of like
these upstairs somewhere. But this is what it looks like. If you guys don't know.
Yeah, so when you take off the rubber treads, so if you look at the black one with the red Sphero on it, second row on the black and red, that one. So those are smooth, and that was probably the most fun I had with it because you could drift it. So those would spin so fast that it would like get slip angle and shit. Anyway, that we built a quarter pipe in the office and used it for like tricks and stuff. And I remember we hit it full blast and it went through the drop ceiling and blew 2 panels out because it launched all the way through the air. It went up through like the 10-foot ceiling and just blew the drop ceiling out. It was great.
Dude, in my brain, this thing was twice as long as this. When I pulled up this picture, I was like, this is not what this looks like, but 100% that is what it looks like.
I have one over here. I'll grab it real quick.
Yeah. Because Vince and Wampus and I knew a lot of people who worked with Sphero. Over time, people would just be like, hey, do you want XYZ Sphero? I think I have every single one except for the last one that's like a car. I never got one of those, but I have a couple of the ball ones. I definitely have an Ollie. I have an R2D2 that just over time they offloaded on me for free. So that was cool.
The Lightning McQueen.
Oh, I don't have that one either. Yeah.
Oh, that was the car. Then they did like a Spider-Man. I don't know. It was
No,
weird.
I'm talking. So like, I think it's called Rover. You know that like.
Oh yeah,
the
yeah,
one
yeah.
they did that was like you could put like a Raspberry Pi on and stuff. Yeah, I never got one of those. Oh yeah, there's an Ollie. I have one of those as well.
This is the rare Ollie Black Edition. They didn't sell very many of these.
I think that's the one that I got too.
Yeah. Ollie unfortunately underperformed, but I thought it was one of the coolest fucking robots. The price point was problematic, but the crazy thing about this
applies to Spheros across the board.
Yeah,
they're very expensive.
The crazy thing about this is how durable this thing is. Like when we launched it through the ceiling and everything, it was fine. The robot was completely fine. More often than not, it would destroy its own treads because the motors were so powerful. It would like break its own wheels, so you would have to like get new wheel covers and stuff like that to make it continue to function well. But it like the robot mechanics never broke, and we did crazy stuff with those. But yeah, Pro Skater would have been really cool. And my angle was like, oh, you could do like, trick styles, kind of like what were we going for? I was thinking of like Kung Fu, dragon and not dragon, Tiger Claw, Crane, like Mantis and stuff like that. And like I wrote up a bunch of different designs for like how that would work. It was cool. And then I left and went to go work at Bungie.
So was it gonna like sense when you 360'd it or something like that about the idea? Okay. Nice.
Yeah, and the idea was that when you did these things, it would give you trick multipliers if you chain them together, and it would use telemetry coming off the robot because there's a ton of that you could get, and they couldn't really figure out what to do with it. And I was like, oh, we got to make it like tricks, and you can unlock new styles that let you, like when you do a trick, you could then hit the button to make the trick just happen, which was really cool.
Unfortunately, that was just the problem. You said it was Spheros. Is just like, what do you do with this thing that was very expensive? That is neat. Don't get me wrong. Like, it seems like the most practical use case that ever came up for it was like getting them to put it in Star Wars.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I'm pretty sure Sphero is RIP. I don't think the company's like really around anymore.
They were leaning into the not a Sphero thing last I had heard when, my last person that I knew. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So.
Yeah, Spark was the educational stuff so that kids could learn coding and robotics.
To be fair, that's probably their best. Aside from going military, education is probably their next best bet. So.
Yeah, and it was definitely like the most successful part of the whole product, which I didn't work on. I tried to make it fun, and I did well. The flagship experience on for the software was what they used as like the baseline for everything, so that was cool. I designed that, and then of course, like I said, I went to go work at Bungie on Destiny. So the Drum Sheds Club is continuing.
Yes, it is.
Tony's got some more lighting and more crowd stuff going on, which is cool.
We're gonna make we're making a VIP section. I have already made the VIPs. They appear like this. So this is gonna be like chatters. I gotta make some more for you guys to be first, and then the idea will be that you can like choose your color and I don't know, maybe make them do different stuff or something. So working on that right now.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I don't think we really have much other game news. Monster Hunter's fun. If you're into that.
Trying to think of some of the other things I had heard. No.
It's all good. I'm looking up some other things. Oh, it's a slow news cycle. Yeah. Yeah, definitely slow. There's an article on Polygon that's like League of Legends lore. That's how slow it is. Oh, and then one that says Monster Hunter Wilds has a hidden setting to make melee combat significantly easier. I don't know that's necessary. It's not that hard.
What's the setting?
I don't know. Here, I'll look at it. Let's see. It's literally just an article written about focus mode. That's weird. Oh, okay. Oh, you can set focus mode to toggle instead of hold. The whole article written about that. I think that's weird because like focus mode is nice, but I don't think it was necessary at all. I also think it's weird that you'd be like, oh man, I want to play Monster Hunter, but this game is too hard. I can't experience it. Like that's what games are. The experience is a part of the challenge is a part of the experience. Let's see.
People have to learn that or refuse to learn that though.
Yeah, I mean there was that whole Sekiro discourse about difficulty being and I mean I guess it wasn't just Sekiro, difficulty being like a conditional disability, I think was what they called it.
Something like that. Yeah.
Which is kind of a weird UX turn of phrase. We talked about that like, I don't know, 8 months ago when that shit was popping and people were talking about it.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's unfair to use that turn of phrase because it belittles disability. It's good for visibility, but it's not, or like awareness, but I don't know. It's weird. It's also like jargon that UX designers use. So I don't know. It's all funky. I think that's all I've got for game news. So yeah, we're in the VIP. Also, if you shave off your beard, you look much younger.
The simple trick that they don't want you to know.
Yeah, exactly. One simple trick to eliminate belly fat: shave off your beard. So yeah, what are y'all playing out there? You guys playing Monster Hunter? You guys playing anything new?
I can talk about Once Human on a quick rant. I've been playing that. It is, I don't know, I just can't decide. Like, seems like could be a good game. Has a lot of jank, and it has, I was reading, has become extremely like microtransaction focused over time as they probably struggle to stay alive and remain relevant. But they also do some cool stuff with it. Like they kind of are doing like a seasonal thing like Path of Exile does, where every time a new season starts, you kind of need to start over with a new server. I think you keep your character and it lets you actually like keep a lot of your gear, which is nice, but it changes the scenario in the server. So like, for example, this current one has like snow and ice and like a temperature survival mechanic and a bunch of different stuff going on in the world that is affected by that. So I think that's an interesting way to handle, I guess, like a live service type thing, but I don't know, the game isn't that good after playing it again, so I don't know.
Chat had some suggestions. Sparkle's playing Mind Over Magic, which is cool. It's like oxygen not included. It's a clay game, but you play like, it's almost like you're making a Hogwarts, and so you're making like a Wizard Academy. She's been really into that. Boom is playing Buy a 5090, and LFQ is playing PoE. Boom can't beat the first level. Yeah, I mean, there's only one level though, right? Boom. Game cycle.
It's like Monster Hunter. The real game starts once you get to the end. So.
Boom's like, I don't know. I live here.
I was getting super triggered the other day because there was this Linus Tech Tips video, and the title was something along the lines of should we cancel our 5090 pre-orders, kind of in relation to the problems that they've been having. But it's like, what the fuck do you mean pre-orders? Like, there's no pre-orders. Nobody got a pre-order. Like, there's no way you can pre-order one. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, the RNG on the ROPs missing is pretty crazy, Boom. I hope you get good luck if you finally get through level 1, that you don't get bad RNG.
Well, if you assume that they'll fix it, then, I mean, you at least have some 5090 until you get a new one. Hopefully they don't make you send it back first. You know, they probably will, though.
Ugh. Yeah, that sounds crazy. LFQ, you playing PoE 2 or PoE? And why?
Apparently that's a valid
over the
question,
other?
so... Yeah.
Yes. Why one over the other? If you're playing the first one, I want to know like why you would play that over the second one. Just PoE 1? Nice. Yeah, Mind Over Magic is interesting. I really like Clay. I think they do a good job. They make some really interesting titles. They do their own thing. They made Don't Starve, Griftlands. I should say publish. I don't know if they actually made them. Yeah, I think they self-publish, and they don't like they make their own games too. But like all the games that they do are, I want to say it's got like a hand-drawn style to it. Yeah, it's cool. They're in like the darkest dungeon indie space, if that makes sense. Oh, you like the new feel with the mini league in PoE 1? Okay, nice, dude. I don't think I ever did any of the leagues in PoE. Yeah, I kind of washed out of PoE. PoE 2 is great. I'm gonna give it a little more time to marinate. I got into the end game. Yeah, the end game. I don't think it's bad. It's just not exactly what I'm looking for, and I think it needs a little more time in the oven. So I think it'll be cool when they add more stuff. There's more depth. It's more fun and interesting. It just seems like a really rudimentary, shallow loop for the end game right now.
I couldn't get past the idea that like it felt very temporary to me, and like a bunch of stuff was going to change and go away and get reset and be different in 6 months, and I just kind of went like, maybe I'll just wait until then.
Yeah, they're like, I think it's the right way to have your community beta test early access, because there's many ways you could do it. I do understand why gamers would be upset, but they never advertise it as anything other than early access for PoE 2. So
100%. Yep.
Just be aware of what you're buying. If you don't want unfinished games, don't buy early access. Like that's the way you do it. You can just buy a 5090 right now. It's in stock. That's crazy. Boom's gonna crash out. Where? We see you got to be in the EU first, Boom.
Boom, the tariffs. You can't do it.
Yep. Link. Boom's like, give me now.
Boom, just do your research on this though, because I'm very worried that this shit is gonna get stuck in customs for 3 months, and then you're gonna have to pay like $1,500 tariff on it as well, and that's not gonna be worth it.
Yeah, true.
I looked into like, I don't go back when I was doing mining. I very much looked into doing stuff like this, and it just never worked out.
You're not my boss, says Boom.
Hey, you control the buttons you push, Boom. I'm just giving you advice.
Boom, don't press the A button. Boom only presses the A button. I hope
I would be so upset if I ended up in a situation where I did that and all of that happened and I didn't have the 5090 in hand, and then I got into a spot where like I could get one locally or something, and then I was out like 2 5090s or something. Yeah, you don't want that to happen.
Yeah, that would suck. unless you're just like stacking money, you don't care. Yeah. Not implying anything, but live your life. You don't even have to stack money. You can spend money however you want. There's just always consequences, you know? Nice, yeah. Mash that A button. I see some B buttons in there too, Boom.
Yeah, that LFQ can buy stuff from Zenit too.
What are the laws in Denmark around like firearms ownership? I actually don't know anything. Can you even buy like parts?
You might be able to buy parts. I don't know if they have like the import restrictions. That's the main thing that prevents us from being able to do it.
Very restricted. I figured as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need a license, and isn't it like I'm trying to remember. There was one, it's like Germany maybe, where like you can own a firearm, but you have to have a license. You have to be a hunter and show that you hunt, and then your firearm is owned and like audited by the state, so they see, where it is and make sure that it's stored safely. And then like your ammunition has to be stored in a completely different place. Like you can't privately own ammunition. It has to be purchased and like reside at the range in the club that you're a part of if you want to fire it, something like that. It's very restrictive.
No, you're confused. That's California.
Yes. That is California. It's very interesting how laws are different, especially when you're an American and you're like, we just fucking do whatever we want. Pretty much the same. You got to be part of a shooting club. Yeah, exactly. Like you can't even own a firearm unless you're like a hunter and part of a shooting club, and you have to be like in a shooting club to become a hunter. So it's like the barriers are pretty significant, and my understanding is that there's like a long vetting process too. So it can take like a year. This is an arbitrary number. I don't know how long, but it can take us an amount of time before you're even approved, before you can purchase anything. And then, of course, there are restrictions on what you can own. So, like, it has to be a hunting bolt-action rifle, stuff like that. Like, no semi-auto box magazines, no, pistol ownership unless you're, like, military or law enforcement, and it's required for your job, that kind of a thing.
No switching the Glock, guys.
Yeah. Out here in the United States, 14-year-olds can just own those things. Not legally, but they do. I'm not trying to say because of our, Second Amendment or laws around any of that state, depending on the state you're in or anything. It's more, they're just everywhere. So, yeah. Shooting's a fun sport. I like it. I'm kind of interested in hunting. Not for sport, but for like, I eat meat. And it kind of makes me sad the way like commercialized livestock can be treated. And if I figure like I'm going to a restaurant or something, you have to pay like a premium to go to a place where like you have healthy animals that you're eating. And it's usually like double or triple the price. And it's like a fine dining type of a place, or like a bistro or a brewery or something like that. So the costs are really high. So anyway, the point is I have a bunch of friends who are chefs and butchers and whatnot. And so because we have a lot of like hunting out here in Colorado, good hunting culture, if I were able to like take an elk, then, I could feed like probably 3 or 4 families with a single elk over the course of a year and get some really good stuff made, like sausages and cured meats and like nice steak cuts and things like that. So that's kind of why I'm interested in it. I've never gone hunting. I feel like it'd be pretty hard. Just taking a life in general is not a great feeling, and it's not a great thing. So I think that would be difficult, but also just the sport is very hard to do. Like learning how to track and all of that, and then like shot placement and all that is very difficult. So I'd be kind of into it. Oh yeah, LFQ, that anxiety is really normal, and you get used to it Yeah, with overtime. Like Tony was saying, it's
I
that's
was
really
I was very much like that at first too. Yeah, took a while. And you should, of course, always approach that situation with a little bit of fear and caution at all times, no matter what. So it's a good way to do it.
If anything, to just avoid accidents. That's the majority of like injury.
You're thinking about.
Yeah, all of it is when people get too comfortable and they stop paying attention to safety rules and just being aware of what they're doing. There's I don't necessarily enjoy the connotation because it's somewhat religious, but there's the principle of like the 10 commandments of firearm safety. Very good. I think that's an NRA thing too, maybe. But either way, really good stuff to practice. And if you keep those things in mind at all times, anytime you're around or using firearms, you can be pretty safe. 45 Magnum, like a pistol, like a revolver, or like a semi-auto, like recoil action pistol. Dude, that's pretty big. Yeah, and the I think so. Shooting pistols is really, really hard, and it takes a lot of practice, a lot of skill. You can be good with a certain firearm and bad with another firearm because they're all different. So yeah, like I shoot one of my pistols way better than I shoot the other one, and the other one should be easier to shoot because it's like for competition and it's really heavy. They're in the same chamber, but I shoot the smaller one that is harder to shoot way better than I shoot the bigger one that's easier to shoot on paper, right? Like, I don't know. It's weird. It's very weird. And I've definitely put in more hours and more practice on the other one. So that's probably why. But yeah. 45 is a big boy too. You need a pretty heavy pistol to kind of have control over that. 9mm SIG. Oh, that reminds me. I think it was Washington State banned the SIG P320 because of drop safety issues, which is weird because I think that's been debunked a bunch. But to be fair,
I thought it was bunked pretty hard last I had heard.
Well, yes and no. It all depends on the furniture because I guess the stock trigger was pretty heavy. But if you have an aftermarket trigger or like the skeletonized one that comes with like the Legion models, it's fine. 100% because the trigger's so light that it doesn't. So basically, like if it drops and falls on the back of it, the trigger's heavy enough that it will activate on its own. And I guess there was something with like the striker springs or something like that where those were a little too heavy too, meaning that they were like a little powerful. And I guess there were some law enforcement people that were saying that they had like a unintended discharge of the firearm, like it just went off. For what it's worth, I haven't experienced any of that, but I have the competition version of the P320, the X5 Legion, and it's different. Everything about it is different. So I don't know. It's interesting because I like you were saying, Tony, I've seen a lot of information on both, and I've seen a lot of like drop safety tests, and they're fine.
Yep.
So who knows?
Again, I haven't looked into it in a while. I just remember hearing that.
It makes me think that like the discourse around it is more of an urban legend than the reality of how safe the firearm is. I do know that the military uses it. The P320, it's like the X something, X9 or I don't remember what they call it. MX9, M9X or something like that. I don't know, some fucking designation. But theirs is different. I think it has a manual safety, which will stop it from firing at all. Most striker fires are trigger safety or grip safety. And then the weight of the trigger and the springs are different in the military issue one to make it more safe for, you know, drop safe and stuff like that. And that one is totally fine. That one would not be in the military if it had, you know, unintended discharge characteristics. So it's a mix of both. Who fucking knows what's making it happen? Probably edge cases, probably modified. Yeah. SIG does make some very quality tools, though. Like, for sure. They make some really good stuff. Very expensive, really difficult to get, especially as a civilian, because they're mostly used for law enforcement and military. So if you get into SIG, you need to find a place that will always have the parts that you need, because they're not interchangeable. They're all proprietary. I know this because I looked into it, because I wanted to get a bunch of SIG stuff, and it was very, very hard to do. Like, I think the weight, so there's not like a wait period necessarily. You just do a background check, so it's usually like 20 to 40 minutes in normal times when there's not like a backup for the background checks before you can walk out of the store with a newly purchased firearm. When I got my P320, I had to wait basically an entire year. It was like 11 months because SIG just was not providing any stock, because all the stock went to military and law enforcement first. So it was fine. You know, I bought it and I was like, cool, I'll just wait until it comes in. And then, of course, it finally arrived, and it took 11 months, and I'm terrible with it and I shoot horribly with it, but it's fun. It's cool. It's a neat thing. Has some cool features. And I say this, like, you know, apolitically. It's more like I grew up. Yo, Shooty, what's up, bro?
Yo.
Yeah, I grew up in a military family, you know, in kind of the country and stuff like that. So, like, in what I mean, like out in the wilderness in smaller towns and whatnot. So, you know, firearm ownership and use is pretty common. So I understand, absolutely, especially if you're like a person who's lived in a city and, you know, it's guns are scary. I get it. I totally get it. So when I say that, it's more of like they're fun. Like it's cool. I mean, it's not like killing things is not cool. That's weird. But it reminds me of like video games. Like you have to do a lot of training. You have to be really practiced at it, as Artificial Sky says, get good. But yeah. It's not like the movies. I think that's the most important thing. It's literally nothing like the movies. I almost kind of feel like culturally, since we have a culture that is very gun positive or just gun ubiquitous in this country, we should probably stop Hollywood from doing all, or at least like make people aware that this is all like movie bullshit. Like you can't use akimbo pistols. It just doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't work. You can't just like point and click. It doesn't work that way. Yeah, or 22 LR is probably the correct way. Artificial Sky. That's what everyone told me. They were like, for first time, you should get a 22. Just really practice, because that helps you get your trigger pulls and stuff correct. Yeah, 2 hands is better than 1. Exactly. Like, especially with a pistol, you need 2 hands. There's... CS is a point-and-click action game. Exactly. What is this? What am I getting right now? Oh, okay, never mind. We're chilling. How you doing, Shooty? Are you checking out Monster Hunter at all? I feel like it's not really your kind of game. but it might be. Yeah, I'm with you on that. The weird stuff, yeah. There's a lot of weird politics around 2A. I'm really enjoying Monster Hunter. It's super fun, but I guess I have the right kind of brain for it. I really enjoyed World. World was a lot of fun. I will caution you because some people are experiencing performance issues in Wilds, especially if you're playing on a PC. And by performance issues, I mean like crashes or like severe frame rate drops in certain circumstances. Yo, what's up, Omni? Yeah, you're definitely not first, bro. You're about an hour late. OMG. Yeah, artificial. So I will say that there's a lot of really wacky Japanese UX in Monster Hunter that makes the game less enjoyable. But the moment-to-moment loop is really good because it feels kind of like a casual Dark Souls type of a game with really satisfying progression systems. So like chopping off monster tails is really fun. Capturing monsters instead of chopping them to ribbons is really fun. I'm gonna allow that. That's totally fine. But yeah, if you like the wacky UX, then you'll be fine. You'll be at home. It's just really weird. You're like, how the fuck do I use an item? And you have to do like binding an item to a radial menu and all kinds of crazy stuff. I would recommend playing with a controller over keyboard and mouse, but do whatever you prefer, especially if you're getting into it new. But if you do get into it, I can help you with all of the hunts. We can have fun. We can go hunt new things. It's good stuff, man. Door Kickers 2 and Tactical Assault VR. What was Door Kickers? That's really familiar. Are you not playing Tarkov anymore, Omni? What are you yelling about, dog? I see you, yo.
What is Door Kickers?
You had some infrared stuff going on? Yeah, no worries, dude. Just let us know when you want to play. I've been playing Monster Hunter, so my like generator ran out of fuel and all kinds of other stuff, so I just let it chill. I'm buying some fuel tanks every now and then so that when I start playing again, I'll be able to... Oh, yes, I did see the flashlight meta thing. We were talking about that a little bit. It's weird because that's PvP only problem, and it's a problem with volumetric lighting only. So there are ways around it. It's a little silly. There's always been flashlight stuff in Tarkov, and like I think it's fine. Obviously, it's not good that you can put 6 flashlights on a gun and blind the shit out of everybody. But it is useful to have flashlights. And
we pretty much run like flashlights on 24/7 when we play. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Flashlights make scavs react slower. There are gameplay benefits. But yeah, Omni, let me know when you want to play Tarkov again, and we'll get into it. Sparkle's been playing Mind Over Magic, so she's really into that, and I've been playing Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter's so good.
Omni, if you ever want to play something like this, I would definitely be very into joining, but I would probably recommend that maybe we look at like Onward.
Oh, is this VR?
Yeah. This is very similar to that, but I would imagine is maybe a little more feature rich, but this looks cool. I was talking to Vince last night about how I want us to play through Jet Island together at some point in relation to Hyperskate.
Hyperskate, yeah.
Days, so that would be fun. any other VR users out there would ever be interested in doing that with us, I think it's up to like 8 people in multiplayer, and definitely one of my favorite VR games of all time. So I could show you guys around.
Oh, Omni, good. We were literally talking, like, we had firearms discourse before you joined, so it's relevant.
Supposedly Ready or Not with the UE VR mod is a very, very good VR game too. So that could be one we could try sometime. And
okay,
that's when I've played flat screen a lot on that, and I like that game a lot. It's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like Rainbow Six, like classic, not like Siege.
It's like, yeah, it's like Tarkov Rainbow Six. Like your handles a lot like Tarkov, which I thought was cool. RON with VR mod confirmed. Oh, Ready or Not. What's up, Adder?
Yo, what's up, Adder? Good to see you, brother.
Dude, you got VR? We should play some VR sometime.
Yeah, man. Seriously, it'd be really fun. One of the things that we did early on, we've slipped out of practice a little bit, but one of the things we did early on with Fractal Grove is we always had like 2 weekly meetings in VR. So we would like talk about what we're developing and whatnot and walk about mini golf. That's really fun.
Or VR chat or big screen or yeah.
Usually casual atmosphere, but still, professional and keeping it on task and whatnot. But like, have a couple libations, whatever, hang out, team build, because we don't have a physical office. But yeah, they've been really successful. It's been a good time. And Walkabout Mini Golf is really good for that. I feel like if you're playing like a tack shooter in VR, it would be a little harder to like be on task.
What? No way.
Nice, dude.
Oh my god.
That's awesome. Like meta first party or like meta itself, or I guess Oculus, yeah. So first party Oculus titles or like independent studio that's under the umbrella.
Meta first party. Very cool. That's awesome.
That's very dope. Yeah, we met some people at PAX a year and a half ago or something like that, from Meta, and it was cool. We were chatting about a bunch of things we were making. I don't think Hyperscape was even like a gleam in our eyes yet.
No, not for like 6 months.
Yeah. That's really cool. So Meta really is all over the place. I'm assuming that she can work remote, or there's probably like an office there. Yeah, because we've got like offices out here in Colorado for Meta too. Armature studio under the Meta brand.
Oh my god,
awesome, dude. That's very cool.
She has like the dream version of my dream job. Okay. Very sick.
Yeah, you have to live near the Austin hub. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I get that.
I've also heard the UE VR mod for the RE4 remake is pretty solid, but that would be very intense.
That would be pretty intense, yeah. Like camping. Intense. Yeah, you got it.
I got it.
That was a slow burner. Big tent guy. So Omni, you were doing some I guess you weren't doing any like CQB tactical courses or like shoot houses or anything, right? Like you were just watching some videos. I know you've done like tactical training courses before, yeah? I want to know more. Yeah, I believe that, bro. So yeah, we were talking about I don't even know why. Why did we start talking about like firearms ownership and all that? Oh, because LFQ is in Europe, and Tony, we were talking about 5090s, and he's like, yeah, I can just buy a 5090, like, but it's because I'm in Denmark and etc. And then Tony was like, yeah, you can probably buy like Zenit furniture from like Kalashnikov and whatever. And he was like, I don't know. And so we started talking about regulations, and it was really interesting because like we are unique in this country with how it works, and we can just get whatever the fuck you want. Like you can just buy and own whatever you want for the most part. There are some there's about like 10 restrictive states, some more so than others. There's really 2 that are super restrictive, and that's California and New York. And that always goes up and down. You gain rights and lose rights, and it's all weirdly ambiguous. Shoot house stuff seems really cool, though. I feel like I'd like to do some of that, but I'm like, I don't get super deep into like LARPing or anything like that. I don't have like a plate carrier or anything. And, in any type of a situation where I'd need to wear a plate carrier, I would not be near it. I'd be like first evacuating, keeping my
over here like,
safe.
hey buddy, if I had a plate carrier, it wouldn't be for LARPing reasons. But
oh yeah, no, you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Yeah,
like, I'm just saying, like, you don't have to be in the conflict zone. You can make some different decisions, and I think like if that's your thing, go for it. But just my military family has like convinced me. I know so many people who've been to conflict zones and been in combat and did like combat tours and all the branches of the military, and universally nobody is having a good time. Like nobody's having a good time. This sounded fun before I went to go do it, and then actually being there, it was literally like hell, and it was just awful. Mom's side of the family is current or ex-LAPD. After getting out of the military, had access to FNF days at LAPD facilities, Tac City Airsoft. Dude, that is awesome, Adder. That's really cool. I have a lot of respect for military veterans, a modicum of respect for police. It's a necessary function, but not all cops are good. And I also don't like people's rights being infringed on, and that happens a lot.
All cops are good. The opposite of ACAB.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I'm trying to be kind, like I literally, I don't hate cops. Like that's not the thing, but yeah, I think it's a tough job, right? Like it's really fucking hard. You're risking life and limb every day to keep people safe and make sure that none of the bad shit's happening. Yeah, it's a crazy situation. Trying to be a cop, so no, I gotta be the hero, says Artificial Sky. Yeah. I mean, I feel that. You're not wrong. The corruption is palpable even as a cop. Family is LAPD, SNR mostly. Helicopter pilots, yeah, dude. So search and rescue or like fire and ambulance, like medical first response. Zero negative feelings about any of those people. Wonderful human beings. They do something that is often thankless. People take it for granted until they're in that moment where they're like, oh shit, I really need some help, and then they're like, oh my god, thank you so much. But before that, like, there's a lot of ambivalent, or not ambivalence, I guess somewhat derision towards like, why do we even need these people in these roles? And it's like, well, you have them there so that you hope you don't ever need them, but when they're there and they're trained and they're helpful, it's really good. Yeah, obviously we get, because Colorado's a big outdoor place, we have a lot of people that need SNR all the time. Like, a lot. It's been a pretty wild avalanche season, so a lot of avalanches have occurred and people have been rescued. I think there was a snowboarder trapped for like 18 hours or something like that recently. And they found him, they saved him, he was okay. He made it out, but not everybody did. There were, I want to say, around 10 like hiking accidents that didn't end well last year. People just falling off of mountains. I think someone fell like over 1,000 feet. So
there was that girl from CU.
Yeah,
2 weeks ago. She like left her dorm in some Converse late in the evening to go on a hike for some reason, and they found her body in a ravine.
Yep. Passed away due to exposure, and I guess the investigation's ongoing. They don't really know what happened. Your uncle's actually transferring to Colorado Springs to train SNR teams next month. Fuck yeah, dude. So that's really cool. I gotta say, like, I live in the super liberal area up in like Boulder area, and I kind of grew up here, but I also like the Springs. Like, I like that Colorado's got that diversity. You've got like a lot of liberal mindset, but also a lot of conservative mindset, because we have Air Force Academy, Fort Carson, Northern Command. Like, there's a huge military presence in Colorado. So I like having both, and not a specific sync of a or an echo chamber, a certain way of thinking, right? Like it's really nice to meet a bunch of different people with different life experiences, and nothing is clear cut. We all exist in a gray area, so yeah, I mean, she didn't make it at her. So obviously, like, Converse was a poor choice.
Yeah.
It was also insanely cold the week that she went out. It's warming up again. That's why I chopped the beard off. But yeah, it's like, I think that's a part of the problem. We have a lot of the like weed tourism people, so the population boomed after the legal weed thing in fucking, what was that, early 2000s?
2018.
2018? Really? That late?
2018.
I thought recreational, oh, maybe I'm thinking medical was like 2013 or something.
Obama got elected in 2016, and then it took him about 2 years to like officially turn it on.
I got it. Okay.
Okay, guys, when you send a message now, it should spawn a glowing person with your name color. So if you want to send some messages and help me test that, that'd be cool.
Hell yeah. Artificial Sky, opinion on wolves. So, okay, I had an article here. I'm glad you brought that up, because I was like, I don't know why, but I'm going to save this article about wolves. There's a couple things.
Sure, you're right. Shoot it. I'm doing the thing where like 1990 was 10 years ago.
Yep.
I'm not supposed to be a new person per message, but that clearly seems to be what it's doing right now. So,
okay,
the idea will be that you'll spawn in and then it'll like put your messages above your head. But
so they released the wolves kind of like up near the Continental Divide in like a really big county where not a lot of people live. And they released a thing that shows the wolves ranging all the way to every border of the state in like a year-long period. So it turns out wolves go really far, and they're not staying in the area that they're supposed to stay in. And they're really good at finding easy things to eat, like cows. So because of that, the Parks and Wildlife Service recommends paying almost $500,000 to 2 ranchers who've lost a lot of cattle to depredation from the wild wolves that were reintroduced. So it's tricky. I will say that wolves are an apex predator. We, without wolves in Colorado, have a prey surplus problem, meaning elk and deer populations boom every year in a really negative way. And what I mean is not because of the impact to humans and their society and all that, but like they have so many deer and so many elk that they die to disease and starvation, and you need more hunting licenses for people to go cull the herds, because otherwise they get out of control and very unhealthy, and then they harm the ecosystem because of that. So when you reintroduce wolves, you hope the wolves go for the natural prey, but the easier prey is livestock, so they've just been going for that shit. It's a tricky balance. We don't understand the natural world as well as we think. So yeah, some people are really pissed off. Obviously, these 2 ranchers are disproportionately affected, but they have lost, nearly $250,000 in cattle each just to this stupid wolf program. I say stupid. I definitely voted for it, but my reason for voting for it was because I would like to see the natural world restored a little bit. I mean, like, mountain lions aren't the right kind of prey or predators for this. To take elk and deer and all that in the quantities that we need. Bobcats can take some deer, but you need a bigger predator. We don't have that many brown bears. We've got some, but you need a bigger predator that is like wolves. So hopefully we figure out the balance and CPW can get it under control without impacting people's livelihoods. How many people can be up there? Tony is gone, so I don't know the answer. Sorry. I'm sorry, Alexi. Let's see. Yeah, $5,000 per cow right now at auction. Cows ain't cheap. Yeah, absolutely, dude. Cattle steps out into the road and you kill one totaling your car, you also have to pay for the cow by law. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, it's not the same artificial sky as like safari tourism where you're taking like, you know, endangered big game, and I'm not saying necessarily endangered, but it's their ecosystems are more in balance and humans harm them. Our ecosystem in Colorado is way out of balance because we don't have natural predators, and we need to be the predators if we're not going to have wolves. So we need to have more hunting, if anything. But when you consider it to be tourism, I think it's kind of the wrong like nomenclature. It implies that it's all sport, and it's not, because of having the surplus populations that we do in Colorado. People will come from other states to hunt because you can get bighorn sheep, and that's a different license than like deer and elk. It's harder to get deer and elk. Tony LFQ was asking how many people can be up there, and he was trying to figure it out. So if you got,
and then it seemed like, I don't know, Twitch session expired or something, so that's why it stopped working. But let's see what happens here. Let's try it again. Okay.
Yes, Adder, we've talked about doing that several times. It's unfortunately very expensive, but that would be really fun.
I don't think we get dupes anymore. Yeah, no.
But also, like, feral hogs, it's really strange to me how people who are unaware of the feral hog problem laugh about it and think it's funny and not an issue. And it is a massive fucking problem. I think a single sow can make like 18 piglets or some shit like that, an absurd amount of piglets in like 3 months. So like one sow makes a ton of fucking pigs. And this is not like a problem unique to the United States. It's anywhere that hogs are released. So this is the crazy thing. Domesticated pigs are hairless, and they're pink, and they have no tusks, and they're chilling. If you release that pig into the wild, they grow a wiry coat and their tusks grow long because they need them. It's so weird. It's so crazy. They just like turn into a different animal, become hyper aggressive. Yeah. They will absolutely kill you. Yeah. Pigs are really dangerous. And I think that's where like it's so strange to me that people in certain areas of the country will like laugh about that shit, and they're like, ha, that's not real. You don't need such and such to deal with pigs. And it's like, no, you really fucking do. They could just kill you, your dogs, your overrun your land, destroy everything that you make your money from. Like if you're a farmer or a rancher, they're very, very bad. Highly invasive species. They're not native. Yep. Tony says there was the situation where the guy was telling everyone they had a herd of 500 run through his yard. No one believed him and took a video of them destroying his property. Yeah, exactly.
It's like a famous, like, kind of like meme situation where everybody's just like, I can't believe how vindicated that guy must feel, because everybody was like, no, that's not true. And he's like, yes, it is. Look at it. It's so strange to me how when, we live in this globalized world with social media, and everyone thinks that their little tiny view of the world is how the entire thing functions. And there's such a wide spectrum and variety to the human experience that it's pretty crazy to, Hella Bacon. That's such a good name for a business that does that. Also, such
Tony, your
name. Oh my God.
Your Baratheon joke was amazing. I liked that.
Okay, Adder, maybe you know this because Vince and I have talked about this before. Do you eat the pigs? Because we had kind of landed on like probably not, because there's by far probably way too many to eat. But I just wonder if that's like part of the deal when you go helicopter hunting. Like, are they going to go down and get what you kill and butcher it and give it to you, and like, do you eat it?
They got shit that someone else killed, Tony, because like then you don't have to harvest it and do all that. They usually just have, because there's so fucking many. Like it's
and then that was my other question was like, is this thing just like a commercial meat operation at a point where they're like the slaughter is like people are paying them to shoot the pigs and then they just go and butcher them and sell the meat? Like that seems like a really good business model.
Yes, dude.
Like
There's
crazy.
literally too many pigs. You can't get rid of
And
them.
farmers
like-
are hiring you to come to their property
Yes,
and take
dude.
care of it for them. They're providing you with the resources, basically. Like, you just need a helicopter and probably really good insurance.
Okay, I'm gonna say
oh my god, that's great.
the thing that taught me about the dangers of feral hogs was actually Lassie. It was an episode from like 1958 or some shit, and little Timmy got treed by a feral hog, and Lassie like fought the hog and was wounded and like limped all the way home to go get help. And they gave him a lesson. They were like, Timmy, you fucked up. Like, you really fucked up here. You need to know that you can't be out in the woods like this. You know there's hogs out there. You need to watch your back. We taught you all this. And they were like, if you didn't have Lassie, you'd be dead. And you need to apologize to Lassie because she took a wound for you. It was cool. And I was like, oh shit, that's crazy. And then I was like, yeah, I guess pigs are nuts. And they talk about how pigs will go for your eyes because they're smart enough to be aware that you need your eyes to see. And that your eyes make, if they remove the eyes or wound the eyes, you're less of a threat, and it makes it easier for them to kill and eat you. And pigs are omnivorous; they will eat you. Like they'll just do that shit. They don't give a fuck.
What's the movie with the guy talking about feeding dead bodies to his hogs and like how quick they get rid of them?
Oh,
very
Snatch.
famous movie.
Snatch, dude.
Snatch. Yep.
Yeah, it was
Totally.
Bricktop.
Yep.
Hence
There's
the
that whole
expression-
scene with that line. Yeah, totally.
Hence the expression, as greedy as a pig. And he's talking about feeding like people that cross him to his pigs. A buddy did a
Oh my
week
God,
trip,
Adder.
brought back hundreds of pounds. Yeah, dude. Special needs goat sanctuary? Okay. Oh yeah, dude, goats be there's a wide variety of goats. Not all goats can survive in the wild. Nod hunt? Dude, that's crazy. Pigs eat your teeth. There is no evidence. Artificial Sky, you're taking it to a weird place, but yes. 20 Down syndrome goats, they're adorable. That's
Amazing.
crazy, dude. Goats, so okay. I always think goats are like kind of cute, and then they have the weird horizontal slit pupils, and it freaks me the fuck out. And then they look at you, and then they go, "Wah!" And you're like, Jesus, bro, what the fuck?
Very much agree.
You want to hug them all, but they're also super. Yeah, dude, a goat can fuck you up, man. Like real bad. Goats are cute. I'm with that. Goats are not as smart as pigs, though. Like they're not. They do some dumbass stuff. Also, goats are pretty tasty. I will say that. Yeah, I guess since I was talking about hunting, I think that's a point that I also neglected to illuminate was that I think it's really good for people to be close to the food source. So if you have like taken an animal and you're living off of that animal's meat, it feels better. And I only say this as like I've eaten fish that I've caught and had some of the meat that one of my friends took from a hunt. And so I haven't done it myself, but that's kind of universally like the attitude that people say is like you're much more grateful for it. You witness the entire process of the meal being created, and it hits different, I guess. So that always is kind of appealing to me. Yeah, goats are definitely dumb as fuck. I've seen goats just like chew on metal and then like swallow it. And I'm like, what are you doing, dude? You can't eat that. And they're like, bah! Goats are not goated, I'm just saying. Adder, I've never used nods. I definitely want to like try out some nods sometime.
Looking through nods is crazy. You can't describe it to someone until you see it. It's so weird. I have a friend that has a pair that's like not super great, but he showed up to me like in his basement, and I was just like, "That's the craziest thing I've ever seen."
Hell yeah!
'Cause it's seriously like, you know, there's like radioactive shit in there that's making what's happening happen, and it looks, you can just tell. Like, you're just looking at it, it's like all fuzzy and jumping around and stuff. It's very cool. Yeah, I got to shoot with them inside a range with like a 22 and a handgun, and that was pretty cool. I have like IR friendly optics now that I didn't have at the time, but it would be cool.
Yo, sound effects guy, thank you for following us during the firearms discourse. I appreciate it. It's not normal for our channel, but you know, yapping about random topics is, especially during the Wednesday developer streams. What's up, dude? Yo, thank you for being here. How did you find us? Where did you come from, and what do you find interesting about the channel?
You're getting close to a Cotton Eye Joe there.
Yeah, shit. They can be blinding if you don't have the correct muzzles. Oh yeah, dude. If you have like vertical blast, like yo, LFQ, thank you, bro. Thank you for gifting it. Yeah, sound effects guy, enjoy the emotes. We've only got a couple. We have the tree and the Chandler. I do a lot of dev stuff myself, so I was just searching Unreal Engine tags. Awesome, dude. Okay, so
nice, good.
Well, let's tell you what we're
cool then here.
Yeah, let's tell you what we're working on today. Tony's building a visualization for a EDM venue, procedurally generated. Go for it, Tony, if you want to.
No, I mean, you were doing it. Yeah, we just have this cool like particle system crowd here, and I've been working on the VIP section here. So when you guys send messages, you're gonna appear here as kind of a glowing person with your color.
This exercise is important to one of the projects that we're working on, for like, I'm trying to think of a good way to describe it succinctly. Like a live performance,
live content creation.
Yeah. Live performance content creation in a large venue using like VR. So imagine you are an artist and you're playing a venue, and you want to do a little more than tech rehearsal. Instead of spending a lot of time and money in like a 12-hour crunch period, you could potentially dial things in a little bit better with like your DAW and your visualizer, industry standard stuff for your screens and your lighting and all that, and lasers. So that's one of these projects. Our main project is called Hyperskate. We're building a game for PC VR. God damn it, why did I say links? Chat, I'm not here today mentally. So yeah, check out the link tree. The trailer for Hyperskate's at the top. We're targeting a release sometime this year. We don't know exactly when. Development speeds up and slows down depending on the resources we have. So we're doing our best. We really want to release this year. Looking like it's probably going to be closer to the end of the year at this point, but that's where we're at. Let's see. Hyperskate is a 40 by 40 kilometer real world scale environment. Multiplayer, Steam. If you have an HMD, you want to play Hyperskate with us and check it out. You are surfing, snowboarding, skating, hoverboarding, whatever you want to call it, across real world terrain at 300 miles per hour. Above 200 miles per hour. There's a bunch of different systems that regulate how fast you can go. Think a little bit about like Riders Republic, Steep, with a sci-fi slant to it and some like rich environment and world building added onto it. So it's not meant to be like an extreme sports replica. It's like it's its own thing. Yes, lights on DMX.
Yes, lights on DMX. Yep. I'm using the DMX sample project lights, of course, but something that I discovered as I started trying to roll this out. So this whole thing is procedurally generated, and I can scale it up and down, and it should kind of adjust to the size and stuff. And I want to have the lighting system do that as well. But these spotlights come with a version of the light beam that is a static mesh and isn't actually a volumetric light. And so performance-wise, that is quite a bit easier on the GPU. So I want all of the lights to be like that when possible. And unfortunately, this is the only fixture in that setup that doesn't use volumetric lights. So I'm probably gonna have to go back through and kind of build some other fixtures myself, because I want like strobes and some other like LED bars and stuff like that, and I just think they're gonna really tank the performance and not really kind of have the same look as these. So that's gonna slow me down a little bit, but I'm gonna try to do lasers right now and see how those look, so we can play around with those.
Yes, dude. And you've solved some laser technology problems already. So
I've made my own lasers before, and as I started doing this project, I actually made my own lights too, because I didn't realize that they had these at first. I had the idea that I was like, I don't want to use volumetric lights. I want to use a mesh that glows, and that should look better. And so I had made something that kind of looks like this, and I don't know if it'll. Maybe it won't even appear now, but you can kind of see it in the content browser the way that I was envisioning it, at least, and it worked okay. But ultimately, there it goes. So it looks pretty good, but the ones from the DMX sample look way better. So probably just end up kind of combining these techniques into something for a lot of them.
Sound Effects Guy says, I got into Riders Republic for a little while. Steep was probably one of the most beautiful looking games of its kind. Absolutely. Steep was the Mont Blanc one, right? In France. Yeah. Yeah, so when I say those games, I'm referencing the like free-form open world gameplay type of components. So imagine you've discovered a new area of the map in Hyperskate. You'll get new challenges, slalom runs, time trials, races, stuff like that. But there's also exploration elements. So imagine as you get to this new area, you have to do some things. I'm being intentionally vague. We already know what those things are, but you have to do some things to unlock this point. And when you have it unlocked, you've got some new stuff to explore, new challenges to partake in. So that's the vibe. Think a little bit of like some Metroidvania, some traversal stuff. And I don't mean Metroidvania in terms of like getting weapons and stuff like that. It's not a shooting game. It's an action exploration, freeform, open world multiplayer game. I'm throwing a lot of buzzwords out there, but I'm trying to describe the experience without giving everything away. So I wrote a whole story for it. Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit about us, Sound Effects Guy. So we're a game studio called Fractal Grove. I'm Vince. This is Tony down here. We're the co-founders of the studio. I went full-time on the studio almost 2 years ago now. The first 8 months or so, we spent time in 2023 looking for investors and stuff like that. So we started the live stream in 2024. We just had our 1 year anniversary. The point of the live stream is to fund the game studio. And because of wonderful people like LFQ and Artificial Sky and Anna Lyrith and a couple of other people who like really contribute to the channel through subs and gifts and all that stuff, we're able to cover operations costs. So it's not a large sum of money, but we can pay for tools licenses and cloud hosting and stuff like that we need so that we can continue to function as a business and build products and put them out on the market. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Thank you for the happy anniversary. It's been really cool. We were nervous at first because we're like, who the fuck is going to come in here and support us? One of the things that I really strongly believe in, so I've got I keep saying 12 years, is probably closer to 13 now, experience as a professional game designer. I've worked on everything from mobile to AAA. The biggest AAA I worked on was Destiny 2. You can't really see it. It's blown out now because it's pretty bright outside, but there's this sniper rifle back here from a mission that I made in Destiny 2 called The Whisper. That was like, I was the feature lead for that. So it was kind of like my idea, my whole, experience thing. I was the vision holder. Yo, Brightside. I was just wondering how you're doing, brother. But we have a really cool community here too. Pretty much everybody in chat is a creative in their own right. Brightside here makes wonderful music and video games as well. His game came out with Next Fest, I think. Please correct me if I'm misrepresenting it.
I think it was just a demo.
Oh, the demo. It's called Slice and Dice. So check out his stuff. Brightside is also a music producer. He makes really good stuff. I really hope your beat challenge last week went well, Brightside. I fell into a monster hole and I started hunting monsters. So it was fun. I had you up and good shout out. Matt in 1819 were the biggest AAA notches in your belt. Yeah, dude, that's awesome.
Oh, Nice. That's awesome.
I'm assuming you do audio. We've got a couple of other people around here, like tech art, lighting artists. I'm a game designer, so like my forte is in like experience vision and level design and encounter design and stuff like that. That's mostly what I've done in my career. Yeah, and I'm operating as creative director at Fractal Grove. Tony's technical director, so he owns the tech stack and you know, builds tools that I need to make stuff. We've had a couple contributing artists come through and give us some assets, probably like 4 or 5. Everyone's made kind of different things, so yeah, I guess what we need is a strong art person to help us, you know, flesh out the vision, and then I think we're off to the races. Tony's solving some tech stuff so that we can really deliver. One of the things that we found in making the trailers, that foliage was really important. So adding like forested areas and trees and bushes and stuff like that really just made the game feel better. So Tony's figuring out how to make that happen in the shipping game. When we built it for the trailer, we captured an engine using the sequencer tool, and the frame rates were obviously bad. Our frame rate target is 90 FPS on Meta Console, which I think is, or Meta HMDs, which is the cap currently, but PCVR, Tony's targeting 120 frames a second, so we're getting there. Yeah, and Tony, you know, instead of banging his head against like World Partition and PCG stuff, he wanted to take a little bit of a break and do some more PCG for our other project called Miracle Maker. So, yeah. Which is totally, it's awesome. It's good. It helps with everything else.
Yep. I was telling Vince before stream today, when probably going to be like spring break time or so comes around, then I'm going to just retreat into my hobbit hole for like 8 days and then come out on the other side and be better at World Partition. So looking forward to it.
Do I have this over here?
Yeah, I guess I bet you I don't know why this is happening. I'm going to have to look into why it times out.
Oh, the bot keeps timing out?
The like Twitch login, like auth session or whatever times out, and then it stops working. Okay, again. There we go. Now it works.
Throw a green bin in there. Yes, there we go. So yeah, that's kind of a rundown on who we are and what we're doing. You know, this is the thing. The last game that I worked on was Return to Moria as a lead designer. I did procedurally generated like hazards and stuff for the environment, procedurally generated encounters, and like boss fights and animations. Yeah, like cinematic animations that occur in engine. So like, you walk into a room and the dragon goes flying across the thing and like breaks a bridge. Like I built that. Yeah, really weird stuff because that's very outside of my wheelhouse, being a level designer, but you know, that's how it goes. And then immediately after that, I went full-time on Fractal Grove. So that was, yeah, it's like 2 years ago, I think. This month, maybe? No, in May. May will be 2 years. Yeah, Tony figured out chat integration, and that has led him to this point, building this, you know, EDM venue. Yeah,
I can show I'll show the coin pusher thing real quick too while we're chilling.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The coin pusher thing is really cool. So we were trying to figure out like ways to integrate channel points and, you know, give you guys something to do more than like jamble or whatever the shit on, you know, us playing a thing or whatever. So in this arcade machine, when it's hooked up, I don't think it's hooked up to this version, but when it's hooked up, you could interact through chat, you know, be like, use your channel points to drop marbles and stuff like that. And we want to use it for like stream related contests, or on Thursdays we usually play video games and kind of come at it from like a game developer perspective. A big goal with the stream is to bridge the gap between developers and gamers. I think there's a really negative, toxic relationship that exists right now between people who play games and people that make games. And I want to demystify that, have a positive relationship with people that play our games. So we're taking the big risk. Like I said, I've come from AAA, so I worked a bunch for 5 years on Destiny 2, and I've definitely been a part of community events, and it's really cool, but there's also a lot of toxicity. So we're taking the risk of like being out there early before we get big, trying to be just human beings and build the community around us that is positive and helpful and uplifting, and lots of people who create stuff. So we're going for really positive vibes around, appreciating this art form of making video games and helping you guys make the things you want to make. We've helped Brightside a bunch with some of his projects, which is really cool. It's very awesome to see that we can actually even just help somebody, So, and Brightside's not the only one. I think like Turning Cog has asked for a few things. Simple Sins as well. There's a couple of other people who come through chat and they're looking for help. Who's the guy that we helped fix his Twitch too?
Oh man, not positive.
Yeah, I'll recognize his name if he comes through.
Yeah.
But oh shit, that reminds me. I should be looking at YouTube, see if we got any YouTubers. We simultaneously stream on YouTube.
Yeah,
as well.
our all of our chat overlays are not working today, so I haven't even been able to see your YouTube chat.
Yeah, I'm just double checking our YouTube. Okay, cool. No chat.
I'm gonna let this run for a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so Wednesdays we usually do Tony's building something and checking stuff out, and I'm just kind of yapping about video game industry news. I talk about, my experience in AAA, where I think the problems are in the industry, my experiences at Bungie. I'm just trying to be an open book and like I said, a real person. Yo, thank you for giving YouTube some love. The biggest thing you can do is sub to our channel on YouTube, because we need to get to 1,000 subs. We're at 730-ish. We've been hovering there for like 6 months. One of the best videos that we did for YouTube subs was me talking about the return of some of my content to Destiny. So the Whisper and 0 Hour came back. They did that for a release like early last year or something like that. And so that video did really well, got us much higher up on reaching monetization. But once we get to 1,000 subs, we can get AdSense, which means we can make money off of YouTube. We're not making any money off of YouTube right now. YouTube chat does work on stream. Oh, Tony's going to lose his mind. Yes, the Destiny community loved that shit. It's always really cool. That's one of the things that inspired me to be like, you know what, we could do our own thing. Is, like I said, I've worked on everything from like mobile to AAA. Before I got to Bungie, I was working on robots, app connected robots, and I wasn't sure if I could like really make an impact on a big AAA IP that has hundreds of millions of dollars in budget and all that. But I did, and I was able to make an impact in Destiny. So that helped me like have a little more confidence to be like, yeah, I do have good design sense. I do have good vision. There were a lot of people who were really encouraging too, especially inside the studio and fans and all that. So that has been really, really awesome. And that made me go like, you know what, we can do this. And so, thankfully Tony believes in the vision too. And this is the thing we're doing.
Kind of just told myself this is what I was going to be doing regardless. So,
yep. And so that's my background. Tony is a successful software entrepreneur. He started a couple different businesses. So yeah, he's got some of that sense that I don't have. And yeah, our skill sets complement each other really well. The biggest thing that we need is to have more funding so that we can make bigger things. One of the things that we really want to build is a AAA action shooter. Third person, we've been talking about this thing for like 5 years. So yeah, making money through YouTube is a trek. Been there for 6 years and just short of 10K. It's about 300 or 400 per year, but it all helps. Yeah, dude. I mean, even 300 to 400 per year would mean that we could like buy licenses for someone else. So if we can't you know, pay someone directly, or we could like contract and be like, hey, we can give you like $300 for an asset or a couple of assets, you know, build us a couple things that we need. That helps a lot. We don't have the biggest digital art backgrounds. You know, we've got some. Tony has some graphic design. I went to school for 2D and 3D animation, but that was well over 10 years ago, and I haven't, you know, made anything with it. We're talking like 15 years now. No, more than that. So never really used any of that in my career until Return to Moria. And it was weird. It was not great. I didn't love my work on that. But yeah. So we're getting there. We're doing the thing. We think that also, like, there's not many people operating in the space of being a seasoned developer and putting yourself out there on Twitch and streaming. You know, like Pirate is basically the only one, and, you know, not necessarily trying to throw shade at him at Thor, but Thor worked in...
Not a developer.
Yeah, he worked in QA and he worked as like InfoSec, which is different. You could do that anywhere, really. So as a creative, I think a lot of the creatives that make video games don't stream their process or like any of that stuff, and it's different. So we're trying to do the big risky thing, and it's working. It's very validating and fun so far. It's also really cool getting to meet all you people. I think I was talking about it last week, but it's very awesome to go to Brightside's stream. He's been a big supporter of the channel too, and of the studio. But it's been fun going to Brightside's stream and seeing what he's got going on over there, and checking out like the whole music production thing it's so awesome to me. Music is something I enjoy, but I can't make music. I just don't have the ability. I've tried to many points in my life, but you know. Yeah, exactly, LFQ, not to throw shade, but yeah, like Thor has done a thing. I don't even care. Yeah, Thor has done a thing, and we wouldn't be necessarily in this position without Thor. Like the software and game dev category was because of Thor, so we would probably be doing the same thing, but often, you know, category trying to chase whatever game is hot and get people to come watch us that way. I've found that we're more successful in software and game dev than any other category. We did really well with Ultra Kill. That was fun. But you know, it doesn't last.
That's because of Ultra Kill.
Yeah, exactly. And it just doesn't last. Like the Ultra Kill people were there to see me play Ultra Kill. They weren't there for anything else. So in a way, we're variety streamers. Yeah, so Effects Guy, when I was at Bungie, one of the first things that I had to do for my onboarding was disclose all of my social media platforms, my followings, and all of that, to determine whether or not I would be like a PR risk. And that happened. I haven't been at Bungie for like 5+ years now, but that happens. It happened to everybody, and it was like that was just a standard onboarding process. So some people were allowed to continue streaming, but the majority of people had to no longer participate in streaming. I have like a lifetime non-disparagement clause in my employment at Bungie, so I can never like say anything bad about them. I can share like the truth, but I can't be like, oh, these guys are shitty, you know, like I can't slander them or anything like that. It's weird. So I have to be careful about what I say and how I talk about my time at Bungie. So I can just basically talk about my personal experiences, and that's it. Sound effects guy, it's kind of weird, but like streaming takes a lot of time and energy. That's one of the reasons why we only do two-hour streams per week. We have been running a little bit longer as I've been playing Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. And the reason for that is because it helps out the Twitch numbers a bit. When you run longer, you hit certain milestones, and only doing 4 hours a week is like not enough for the minimum of certain milestones. So that's one of the reasons why we've been doing it, and we want to get through it and get to a different game. Tony's got some stuff he wants to play on stream too, so. Our streaming setup is interesting too, so if you ever have questions about how to set up a stream and like what you should do, please feel free to reach out. Oh, here. The best way to keep in touch with us is through our Discord as well. Lots of people ask questions in there. It's very good. So that's where the community is a little bit bigger. We usually get around like 10 to 20 people in stream when we're live. A lot of our videos get watched after we're live. And then, yeah, a lot of the communication and chatting and community occurs on the Discord server. That's why I stick to making YouTube tutorials. The prep work to make a video isn't worth streaming and is usually full of me screaming at my computer because you did something stupid. Yes. So one of the things that we're trying to do is show that moment of when UE does something stupid. And it's happened to Tony so many times.
Every time I try to do something streaming. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just the nature of it. But I think that's an important thing to show players, you know? Show people that consume games. Like, this shit is not easy, and you need to be very passionate about it and really care about video games. And if you don't do that, like I've watched, I don't know how many people, an uncountable number of people wash out of the games industry because they were like, I don't really care that much about games. I don't even really know why I'm doing this. And they go work in, you know, a more traditional sector and make more money, and they're happier and they have better work-life balance. But yeah, that's our whole thing. Also, please go wishlist Hyperscape if you haven't already. I'm sure that helps in some way. There's a lot of things I don't know about this. We were just like, let's put ourselves out there and try to make this thing a thing. So we're rolling with it and growing and getting better at it as time goes on. I might need to turn my lamp on now. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Now that the blinding sunlight has chilled out. Yeah, beep booping YouTube. Effects guy, I was talking about how I've been playing Monster Hunter World and really enjoying it, but or Wilds, and I'm a big Monster Hunter guy. Not necessarily for like the IP, but I really got into World. And Wilds has been really fun. So what have you been playing lately? We were kind of asking people in chat that earlier. And then tell us like what you like about it and you know what keeps you in. Also, I think I mentioned it before, but if you want to play Hyperscape with us, the only thing we request is sub to YouTube, sub to Twitch, and be in the Discord, and then we can send you a key if you have an HMD, and you can play PC VR titles. You'll be all set up and good to go. It's all working on Steam. What are those things, Tony? Lights?
Lasers. About got him. This needs to be...
Yeah, bro, no beard. Oh, effects guy, I was growing my beard. I usually grow a beard from October to March, and since it's March, I shaved it all off yesterday. I went clean shaven. Lost like 10 years of my age and physical appearance. LFQ wants sharks with lasers on their heads. He's in his Dr. Evil arc.
I mean, I'm sure we could probably make that happen. Really hope Unreal doesn't crash right now, though.
Ooh.
Come on.
I don't have much time to play as much as I want with dev work, but I usually gravitate towards racing and puzzle games. Forza Horizon 5, revisit older games like Portal. Awesome, dude. I really like racing games, here's my wheel back here. If you notice, I'm wearing a Vice Grip Garage hat and a 1320 video hoodie, so I'm a big car guy myself. Here's my wheel setup. It's not the best, but it's really fun.
Probably use those wheels again one of these days.
Yes.
Mine's like right there.
But yeah, it's good times.
She's Unreal usually either dies or wakes back up by now. This is weird.
There it goes. Oh, did it go?
No.
Hyperskate confirmed wheel support. So the way controls work is they're all on your face buttons. So you're going to be like moving around with your thumbsticks and stuff like that. So very little motion control. That's one of the important things to us. Is a lot of VR experiences are very heavily reliant on motion control, and you play for like 20 minutes and you get pretty sweaty, and it's not the same as a traditional gaming experience where you're like on your couch or in bed or something like that. So we want to allow players to have those more chill, longer session game experiences and make Hyperskate a place to just hang out and have a good time. So if you're thinking of, well, what VR experiences are there that you can just hang out in for a long time in multiplayer? It's VR chat, obviously. So we kind of want to take some elements of like what makes VR chat compelling for people to hang out in and make that work in Hyperskate with, a lot of different framework and games to play over the top of it.
We have FPV drone in Hyperskate already shooted. So
we do.
That's definitely kind of already part of the plan. We don't know exactly what it is yet, but there's definitely been talk of, we talk a lot about trying to let non-VR users look inside the world and stuff like that. So that's definitely going to be one thing. And we want to, have UGC where people can share their recordings of their runs or whatever cool stuff that they did. So we definitely need a lot of like camera tools like that. And I definitely have some set up already. So that's how we shot our trailer.
Yeah, and imagine that you're a VR streamer and you want to interact with your chat while you're playing Hyperskate. So those are think about those motivations, and that'll help you understand like what we're doing and why we're doing it.
I just had the vision of wanting to get real footage of the game, and I was like, well, it would be cool if Vince could play Hyperskate and I could fly a drone with a camera on it while he was doing that and film him. And the short-term solution for that was Vince played Hyperskate with a take recorder running and then gave me the recordings, and then I flew a drone over those running in a sequencer. But that is effectively what we talked about doing. And if I wanted to spend the time to hook the drone up to multiplayer, I imagine I could probably get pretty close to what I'm talking about right now. I don't know how we would record outside of just using like OBS or something to screen cap, but it's definitely possible.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of really interesting stuff that Hyperskate's going to do that I haven't seen in another VR game. So that's the goal, and we're hoping that the experience is compelling enough that it makes a name for us in space, and then we can start getting more steady income from the release of Hyperskate. So that's kind of the bigger deal for us. It doesn't mean that the studio's hanging on the success of Hyperskate, because it's not. That's another reason why
that's always been the rule from day one. Yeah.
We don't want to get in a position where the industry is pretty weird. As effects guy, when you sign a deal, you then get a deadline and you get funding so you can go make the thing, but it's with someone else's money. So there's oftentimes, if not always, some sort of creative discourse about what the artists are making. And when I say artists in this case, I refer to the game studio that's making the thing, and the publishing company or the investors that have given the studio money to go make the thing that will make a bunch of money. There's a myriad of ways those deals get signed, but we really want to maintain full creative control and do the things that we want to build. Because in my experience, there are always compromises that get made when you sign a deal with someone, and it often makes the project deviate heavily from where it started. So we want to avoid a lot of those things, and we want to be like fully transparent with you guys, with the community. People are buying and playing our games. Yeah, and that's really the whole goal behind all of what we're doing, and demystifying the experience and helping people make the things that they want to make. Which bright side, I've been meaning to ask you more about Pizza Game. I hope it went well. I hope your beat challenge went well on Thursday. Yeah, bro, I love seeing you in chat. It's always great to have you here, man.
Yeah, not to put you on the spot, but we were very serious about what we were talking about last week too. Of
Yes.
maybe bringing you on the show and talking to somebody who has published a game recently, because I don't know if there's too many of us around here right now, and some of us probably just can't talk about it because of NDAs. So if you ever wanted to come and share your insight with the community and just kind of like talk about what that process is like for a lot of us who have never actually experienced it, I think that would be really interesting. And I just want to hang out with you too. So
If X Guy says, yeah, for sure, we got really lucky with our investors and don't fret. Very hands off, let us do our thing. But we have to really show up during milestone meetings to prove that we can be trusted with it. Yes, dude, that's a part of the trade-off. So you end up getting these really weird moments where the team is like crunching to hit a milestone because you need to make sure that the money doesn't get turned off. So that you can keep building the project and get to the end of the road. And then the crazier thing after that is once you get to the end of the road and you put the game out, those investors take the lion's share of the money, and you hope that you made enough of an impact that you can get funded for another game. So we're trying to break a lot of that and get out of that space so that we're not in that. I feel like it's a very unhealthy relationship, especially because of the business leaders in the industry not understanding in any way what games are and treating them like traditional products, like a shoe or, and I'm referencing specifically like Nike, right? Like they become an athletic wear brand and it started with just a shoe. And that's like really easy for a consumer to understand. Games are not, and gamers are significantly more discerning with how they make purchases for the most part. There are absolutely gamers that fall into the microtransaction traps, and that's what draws business people to the space and to the industries, because they're like, we can make money hand over fist. We just got to keep following these models. And that's a slow degradation and rot of the entire industry. We don't need that. We don't want that. It waters down and ruins the thing that we all love so much, the reason why we even make games in the first place. So we're trying to buck all these trends and do things a new way. Brian says totally down, man. Always got time for y'all. Would be a nice chat. Yeah, absolutely, bro. You let us know when's good for you. Obviously, we would probably want to do a Wednesday or a Thursday. But either day, if it works for you, we can do a special stream with you. When we did the Destiny stuff, it was one of those situations. One of my buddies from working at Bungie, he started an esports club. He was a Halo commentator, a bunch of other stuff. So he interviewed me, and it went really well. It was just a nice format. So I imagine we would kind of do something like that. I don't know that I'm the best interviewer, but we can, we should go over
talk about it beforehand. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But I think it'd be fun. Also good for you as, business leader yourself to be talking about your stuff. Awesome, man. Yeah, hit us up in DMs. Let us know when you want to do it, and we'll put something on the books, and we'll chat about it. There doesn't need to be a lot of pressure, even though I was saying like we should prepare a little bit and all that. I imagine it'd be like an hour. It's not too much time. I think I was talking about please a Wednesday so I can be here is LFQ's request. There you go, Brightside. LFQ wants to hear what you have to say. That's fantastic. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. Thank you, LFQ. Yeah, I think it'd be really fun. And you can set limits on it. You don't have to be here for the whole stream. You could do like half an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever you want to do, man. But I'm inclined to want to say a Wednesday now because LFQ wants to watch. So, yeah. I think it'll be good. We'll figure it out. I'm just thinking about questions and stuff right now and like where we would go. Obviously, I don't want to spoil it for you guys, so I'm not going to say what questions we'll ask or any of that. That's something we'll have to go over off stream. Wednesday it is. All right, let's go. Yeah, and the funny thing is when I did the interview with Hunter, Old Man Mikowski, he was like, "Do you want to go over any questions or anything?" I was like, "Nah." And the reason why I was confident is because I spent so much time working on the Whisper in 0 Hour that I could just talk about that shit forever, and I'm good at yapping, so I was totally cool with it. I stumbled over some words and had weird answers for a couple of things because I wasn't ready for the questions, but they were fine. It was totally good, and everyone seemed to really appreciate it. FX Guy gonna lurk. Yeah, no worries, man. Thank you so much. Thanks for the follow. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for learning about what we got going on. All of our VODs are up on our YouTube channel. So if you want to see any of the past stuff that we've done, there's a year of content out there. So go check them out. We don't have any playlists made. We're trying to do all of the things, so we don't curate our social media as well as we could, because we would rather spend time working on other stuff. We've had a couple of people come in and out, help us with those things, and we're currently not getting any assistance, so it's just a little slower on the growth of the socials. We're coming up on time here pretty soon, Tony. Do you want to get into some final thoughts? You want to make the lasers work and then call it, or where you at?
Yeah. I'm real close here, so.
Adder, if you're still around, I don't remember if we've talked about ViceScript Garage or 1320 Video. I think we've talked about 1320, but I don't know if you've seen ViceScript. But it's fantastic. If you haven't checked out that guy's channel, I really love it. It's not my favorite kind of car content, but it's really good stuff. And the guy's very entertaining, Derek Beery. Car YouTube is a really small group. I want to say there's like 10 people who are dominant in the space, and it's cool seeing him up there. It's like him, Cletus, 1320, Chris Harris. He does a bit. Throttle House. I'm trying to think of the other guys. There's really not very many for car YouTube. But if you know of something that I didn't mention, I'm always wanting to check it out. LFQ, what have you been up to? It's great having you around here. I always love it when you're in chat. How was your weekend? How are you living life, brother? Artificial Sky, I read your message. He made too much of an impact. I think you were talking about me, yeah, with my Destiny work. So I played Monster Hunter. I went to Top Golf, and I went with some old friends. It was really great to reconnect with them. One of the guys runs an esports production company called Monkey Bubble. Really cool dude. They do a lot of things. They throw tournaments. They do digital production. They do streaming and color commentary and all kinds of stuff like that. So like pretty much if you're running an esports event, they're kind of the guys to go to. And then the other dude I worked with at Sphero, his husband, he is, so I think I've told you guys before, I've only had a couple of bosses that were really good. This dude was one of the best bosses I've ever had. We're really good friends. We've stayed in touch long after I left Sphero. So it was really cool reconnecting with them and hanging out. He's now general manager of a robotics company. He does some really cool stuff. He works for TCG Player. No, Roka Robotics. I think TCG Player is the
parent company.
Yeah. So they make a card sorting robot. So say you're pulling like Pokemon packs or MTG packs or something like that. The robot helps sort and value all of your draws. And they also
I got the sense that it was like if you were running like a business where you were like selling cards or something, this robot you could be like, go get me the Charizard, and it'll like go into the system and like pull it out for you. Pretty crazy.
Yep. It does a lot of really interesting stuff. Yep. So I want to say you can like dump packs. So you can just like open packs and stick them in it. It will categorize and sort them and then keep that in a database. So you can be like, pull my Charizard, and then it'll be like, I know where that is. Here you go.
turn this on?
Let's see. Yeah, so I did the Top Golf thing. Hung out with my mom on Saturday, which was stressful, but you know, we did the thing. We're not on the best of terms, so this is the first time I've seen my mom in like almost 2 years. But yeah, it was okay. Honestly, pretty socially exhausting. Yes, I do like Monster Hunter a lot. I was saying, Brightside, that I have like the right kind of brain for that game, where it just like, I find that Monster Hunter is somewhat divisive. People either love it or hate it. There's no real like casual, yeah, I play a little bit of Monster Hunter type of players. That doesn't really exist. So I tend to fall into the more hardcore of the spectrum, where like I played a ton of World and I played a ton of Iceborne and all that, and beat all the monsters. And you know, I washed out a little bit in Iceborne because it was just old. Yo, same matter, aren't we all? That's what I mean when I say I've got the right kind of brain for it. It works for me, and it like tickles all the right spots in my brain. I love the combat. It feels really good and satisfying because it's super wonky. Kind of like Souls, you know, a very Japanese action game where like your character direction and where it's facing matters a ton, like Ninja Gaiden or Devil May Cry, or you know, any of the Souls games. So you have to be very careful with your timing and like know your animations and know your monster or your opponent, your enemy animations, and get good at that. And I love it. And there's always this loop of like, I killed this giant toad and made a new hat and like a new weapon out of it, and that lets me hunt like the fire chicken, and because I beat the fire chicken, I now get new stuff, and it just keeps feeding into itself, and you get stronger and stronger. So then you can take your higher level gear and go back and hunt that toad again, and it's way easier. Yeah, Monster Hunter. So I got Monster Hunter Wilds came out Thursday night during Brightside's beat contest. So I was there until it launched, and then I was playing as much of that as I could in between all the social obligations I had. So that's been pretty chill. It's been really fun. Monster Hunter is not without its quirks, though. It's Mega Man with extra steps. Yeah, I could see that. I really like the progression systems, and one of the weird things with Monster Hunter is like the game doesn't start until you beat the campaign, really. The campaign's kind of the tutorial for like the whole loop of how you play. And then when you beat it, you're at like Monster Hunter level 14. And I was looking at Thor yesterday after you know, our just whatever. I was looking at Thor yesterday, watching what he was doing. And he's like Hunter level 100 plus. He was like 112. And I'm like, this game's been out for 3 days, guys. Like, what the fuck? And someone in his chat was like, is Monster Hunter worth getting? And another person was like, I put 60 hours in. And I'm like, 60 out of 72, dude? That means you're sleeping 4 hours a night? Are you crazy? That's like sleep, wake up, play Monster Hunter until you go to sleep. Yeah, actually, Genshin's kind of a good way to think about it. New WoW replacement, like MMORPG? Is that what you mean, Adder? I would say Monster Hunter is not that, because there is online play, but it's very quirky and weird in Japanese. So there are ways to like run around with your homies just out in the world exploring, but it doesn't work seamlessly. You have to jump through some hoops. Yeah, it does. I would say it's more of an action game. But there are 14 different weapons with different like archetypes, which I think is really, really cool. Yeah, ARPG is definitely better. I would say that's closer. But you kind of like, you know, you go for your fantasy weapon play style. So I've been using the gun lance, which is really cool. You have a giant shield and this huge like spear polearm thing with a giant cannon that's a part of it. So you like slap stuff and then like fire these huge explosive rounds. It's really fun. And you have a bunch of blocks. So your mobility is basically zero. You can't really move around. You just kind of stand in place and like beat on shit and try to survive. And then the other weapon that I was using is the dual blades, and that's the polar opposite. Extreme mobility with no defense, and you hit like 9 million times a second. So it's really fun. Yeah, Japanese ARPG. Jarpeg. Yeah, I like that. I mean, dude, you could always check it out, and if it's not, you'll know if it's not for you in the first 2 hours. But to be fair, there's a ton of cinematics. So if you just want to check it out and see what the gameplay is like, skip through all the cinematics because you can always watch them again later. And also, like, I don't know, the story is not super deep in my opinion. I don't know that you're missing all that much. It's kind of like an anime storyline where it doesn't really make a whole hell of a lot of sense, but it's fun. It's cool. There's interesting characters. I also put my game in Japanese, not in text, but I like the Japanese voice acting more. It makes me feel like I'm watching an anime or like playing an anime. Chadwell versus Attack on Titan cosplay. Exactly, Artificial Sky. That's totally what I'm doing. But there's also, I was trying to get Tony into it. And there's also 2 weapons that kind of work like Bloodborne style weapons. It's the Switch Axe and Charge Blade. The Switch Axe has a shield as part of it. And then you put the shield onto the sword and it becomes like a huge axe thing that you hit extra hard with, move much slower. So you kind of flip between like faster and then slower gameplay. And the Charge Blade is like basically no defense, but full combos. And it feels more like Bloodborne in my opinion. There's also a bow. There's 2 different kinds of guns. There's the light bow gun and the heavy bow gun, sword and shield, pure lance, not gun lance. There's all kinds of stuff. There's a bunch of ways to play. So, there's the insect glaive where you have like these weird beetles and moths and shit that you throw at the enemy. And then you have this like double-sided, double-bladed staff thing that you like flip around and jump through the air and stuff with. Charge Blader, you're a noob. Yeah. I mean, gun lance is really powerful. So I didn't, when I play games, I don't look up guides or videos or anything on it. I just play game. And when I played Monster Hunter World was my first Monster Hunter game that I played. I went gun lance because I thought it just looked cool. And I've been really enjoying it. And I continued that in Wilds. I have played with all of the weapons, though, in World, not in Wilds. Some nice quality of life things that they changed in Wilds. The game is definitely easier than World, but I don't think that's a bad thing. It's more approachable, and it gets more challenging as you beat the campaign. You have to do much more difficult monster fights, and it's fun. I don't know if it's worth... Yeah, actually, as I think about it, it's probably not good to watch a streamer play Monster Hunter to make a decision off of whether or not you'll play it, because you really need to feel what the game plays like to know if that is your speed. So I would say if you want to get an impression of what the game looks like, it's gorgeous, by the way, and kind of get a sense for the loop, you can watch a streamer. And then if you're like, that's good enough, and I kind of get it and I'm interested, turn it off, go buy it, skip the cinematics, play the first couple of hours, return it if it's not for you. I really think that watching it doesn't do the game justice, honestly. Oh, we got lasers. Yo, good call, LFQ. Also, $70 for a game sucks. I don't like that. I don't like this trend. I don't like pushing towards more expensive games because the budgets have to be so big. I think that's an Ouroboros thing. You don't have to make games with budgets that big, and you can still sell them for $60 or less. Would y'all want to make an IP that could be expanded on like Monster Hunter? Absolutely. That's the third-person action shooter that we were talking about. That's the big idea. Yeah, Helldivers 2 is $40. Perfect point. You don't need to make a game with a movie's production budget. It's crazy. And I say this as someone who worked on Destiny that had, famously had a $500 million budget for the first game. So like, and I'm not revealing anything about that. That was legal disclosure in the Activision lawsuit. Or Sony? There was a lawsuit, and it was disclosed like what the investment costs were for the Destiny IP. It had nothing to do with Bungie. PoE is free to play. Yes. Or did you mean free to pay? You might have meant free to pay, and I just read your shit wrong. Sorry. Yeah, PoE is a very good game too, especially if you like ARPGs. Oh, Brightside's approving of the lasers, Tony. He's loving them. Tony's locked in.
Sorry, yeah, I'm trying to see if I can get like flat. I don't think they have like flat beams, but
like the fan,
yeah, where you can like see the smoke in it and stuff. But I think I already have those kind of figured out in my other project. So, but yeah, this looks cool.
Tony's in the laser dome, dude.
This guy right here.
Yes, dude. I really fuck with those like purple, pink, magenta lasers. That's cool.
I think we can get some like crowd hands in here. There we go.
Artificial Sky says he's $500 deep on PoE, and that's okay. Yeah, so is all right. Yeah, man, if you're enjoying it, do it. If you find yourself frustrated with spending money and playing a game that you're like, man, I got this, just ask yourself, is this a sunk cost fallacy? Are you committed to the game because you spent money on it? I found in my experience as a Destiny player and developer that there are a lot of people who play Destiny who have that feeling. And I don't think that's great. I think a part of it is it's a premium game that you paid money for. This is before it was free to play. You paid money to play it, and then you bought an expansion. So you ended up spending, over $100 every year to keep playing Destiny and be current on the content. And that's great for the studio. I think it's really bad for the audience. And I mean, when I say it's great for the studio in terms of it, I mean in terms of like income and money, and it's a big money faucet, but it's bad for the developers in that you have to constantly be making content. Live service games are, I would say, more trouble than they're worth for the people making them. It just cooks a lot of the team, and people are just like, I don't want to even fucking do this anymore. Because you're in a years-long cycle of just grinding really hard to hit the next release. So, for instance, when I would finish a box product release, because I worked on expansions and I worked on seasonal content in Destiny, and I worked on D2 launch. So when you work on the box product versus the seasonal content stuff, your cycle's really different. Box product, you usually go like, okay, I worked on this for a couple of years. The shit shipped. I'm going to work on the next one. You get a couple months of downtime in Idea Land to think of like what you're even making and how you're making it. When you're in live service, you roll off of a release directly into the next one, and that next release is often spun up before you even finish the first one. So you're constantly in this like churn, and it becomes very hard on the team making it. Furthermore, the people doing live service releases get almost no funding. So you have to try to figure out what the fuck you're going to make that's interesting. And I think that's why, part of the reason why the Whisper and 0 Hour did so well is the only things we got were guns. Like, we got guns and gun skins. And they weren't even new guns. I reprised old guns from D1. So they were based on the first game, updated visuals, but the functions were essentially the same. So the team had to, the weapons team had to port those things forward into D2, make sure that they played right with all the numbers, but it was less work than making a brand new thing from scratch, ideation to shipping. So games as a service are problematic is what I'm trying to get at. And it feels bad, and it completely fries everyone. If you can avoid getting into, if you're a young developer, avoid getting into a game as a service if you can. Otherwise, take that early job, take your lumps, do the thing in the trenches so that you know where you want to be in the industry. I'm missing a bunch of the chat, so let me catch up real quick with you guys. Games as a service projects are brutal, absolutely. And then you guys talked about gas for a little bit, at the scale especially. Yes, dude. Yeah, live service content release. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Brightside. We're talking jargon. Adder is an industry veteran, better than me. He's worked on a hell of a lot more things than I have for longer. So Adder knows what he's talking about for sure. Team just infinitely cranks out content even after the project is dead as a doornail, but financially it makes sense. Full-blown brain-dead team. Yes, dude. That's how you get shit like, we need a winter event in Destiny because we have to give players new content. They haven't played anything for 3 months. We need them to stay in the game because microtransactions drive the studio's development and fund new projects. So how do you keep players in the game? There's a very real industry business analytics thing. I don't know what else to call it, but it's basically when you have people engaged with your game at a certain threshold, there's an amount of time that a player will play and then they convert into a microtransaction spend. So a lot of Destiny was actually designed around that window so that players stay invested, because the longer they were invested, the like conversion rates went astronomically higher. It was almost exponential. So that's all on purpose. And when you do that, it's unhealthy for the player. It's unhealthy for the studio. It's tough, man. And I think I hope that shit goes away. We don't need more of those. But at the same time, Adder, I understand your, nostalgic pining for an MMORPG. I get it, dude. I totally do. Some of my best memories were hardcore playing WoW. Let's see. Definitely seems like that's where the whole industry is focused. Yes, Brightside, at the top of the year, we saw these industry layoffs, and there was a survey done that said like 96% of AAA studios were working on new games as a service or live service games. And that's fucking absurd. Games as a service in the industry by people who make games are referred to as a third place. And that's a psychological construct that human beings have. You have work, home, and hobby. Hobby is your third place. That's where people live their lives most of the time, at least in Western society. That's where you spend time with friends and family, decompress, be yourself, be who you are. So when you're endeavoring to take the third place and make it a thing so that you make money, you can see how that starts to become problematic and unhealthy for both sides of the transaction, right? It looks funny, that one guy just dancing there. Yes, it does. All the big name execs love gas. Yes, they do. Absolutely. And that's another reason why we're doing this, is because I've worked on gas and it is not fun. It makes you dislike what you're doing. So I'm fortunate enough that I was in a position where I was able to make The Whisper in 0 hour. And I was able to do that on the live services team. We released it for free as a secret. And yeah, it's cool. I'm tooting my own horn here for sure, but I'm very, very proud of that work. And, players who were there for it universally love it. And it was incredible. The numbers also support all that. It's like for what to bleed players dry. Yeah, it's like that for what? To bleed players dry by making a SpongeBob skin? Yes, dude. Yes. It's a death by 1,000 cuts. Every little piece, and it's leveraging psychological mechanisms that we all have. There was a really good book I read by Adam Alter called Irresistible: The Rise of Addictive Technology. And he doesn't provide any solutions. He just outlines why someone could get addicted to a Fitbit in the same way that someone could get addicted to a narcotic. And they're the same psychological mechanisms. This guy's a behavioral psychologist. He's a clinical one. He's studied people for over a decade to write this book. So it's not like this dude is just coming out of the left field with some wacky ideas. He knows what he's talking about. Oh, don't worry about your grammar, bro. I was just confused about the sentence structure because there was missing comma. It's fine. You're good. Don't even trip. Yeah, wanting a WoW sequel is a loaded request. Though I feel like Blizzard did a great job packaging expansion development at first. When they ramped up release cadences, when things fell off. Yes, dude. Yes. I think the WoW peak was Wrath of the Lich King personally. That was the best time to play WoW, especially if you started with the launch of WoW. Real talk, was there ever a SpongeBob Fortnite skin? I mean, that's a good question. I don't know, dude. I feel like
there is, but yeah,
I feel like that's an expensive IP. Like, how do you do that? You have to negotiate.
I mean, you look across Fortnite though; they've had just about everything. Like, I had to like really question. I'm like, did they get SpongeBob in there at some point? I don't think they have, but yeah, I mean, they have Family Guy. They have like, you fucking name it. Nicki Minaj is in COD. Like, a bunch of concepts that came out, but nothing shipped.
Yeah,
they'd have to do something similar to what they did with Peter Griffin, where they made SpongeBob a little more like humanoid shaped potentially, which would be funny. Don't get me wrong, but yeah.
Brightside, is Brawl Stars that Supercell game? Because I was really into Clash Royale for a while.
No, Brawl Stars is the Smash knockoff.
I thought that was Arcadia or whatever.
Well, Brawl Stars is the one that has like Batman and or maybe I'm thinking of a different game.
No, Brawl Stars is Supercell. Yeah.
Oh no. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I'm mixing it up with what's the other one that they just announced is like getting shut down that has like LeBron James in it and
oh yeah,
Metaverses. There you go. Thanks, Brightside. I was mixing those two up.
He was saying that his Pomodoro timer app has a subscription battle pass. That's absurd, dude. $10 a year, you get no ads. It's just a timer that counts down. They added a subscription pro tier. That's so weird. Like, I don't understand why they're doing that shit. I mean, I get it. I do understand why. Because this is a business.
Recurring revenue is king. Yeah.
Yes. And they're like, yeah, and they're going, we're just leaving money on the table if we don't do this. And yeah, sure, but also like that's a little weird.
I'm gonna go ready to shut it down here.
Okay. Okay, let's see. I bet the IP holder, art director, rep for publisher said no to altering SpongeBob's proportions. Yes, dude. Yes, 100%. Dude, I've done work with Disney. Oh boy. Actually, I should say that in the Mickey voice. How does he do it? Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah. Oh boy. It was hard, man. It was. Yeah, they're very powerful and they're really good with their IPs. So it's a challenge. All right. Well, I think we're good. Good stream.
Yeah, good stream, guys.
We'll be back tomorrow for more Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. We're cranking. I'm in the last third of the game for sure, probably last quarter. So that'll be done very soon. And then I think Tony was talking about playing something. So hopefully I can get to the end of Ninja Gaiden this week, and then we'll have next week some new Tony stuff.
I'll probably do like a VR game that I really enjoy. There's a handful of them that I've been wanting to talk about for a while. So that'll be the plan probably.
Yeah, and we will see you lads tomorrow. Hopefully, really appreciate you guys coming through every time you do, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Hit us up in Discord. We'll see you guys around.